the years, I've made plenty of gaming thumbnails for all the montages I've done on my channel, and as you can see, I've made quite a lot, and in this video, I'm going to show you start to finish exactly how I make these. So right here, I'm in Photoshop, going to quickly set my parameters here for my thumbnail. 1280 by 720, and I like to go for a 300 ppi resolution. So as you see here, we're on our white background, and we're just gonna go get our images we're gonna use. Just made a quick tutorial folder here, and as you can see, we got a few graphics here, and I'll just show you how I make them for the 3 games. And of course, there's other games, Warzone and Marvel Rivals, but really the idea kind of stays the same. Typically, I have a map background, and then I have some sort of character. So we will start with the Fortnite one here. We'll get the background. We will get our model here. And really, you can find these online for free, or you can make your own, or you can really just grab anything off Google and crop it out. And when it comes to the thumbnails, you don't have to crop them out perfectly because the minor details really aren't going to be that visible on YouTube. Okay, so zoom out. That already looks pretty decent. To start, we'll do our gradient map. So what I like to do is I make this one on the left here like a dark blue gray. And then I make this one, we're going to go with the red since the character is already a little red, and we'll go with that. And we're just going to drag this over a little bit more. And then we'll put this opacity down at about an 85. So boom, the red theme's already going there. We're going to darken this a little bit and add a bit of contrast. And then we'll play around with maybe adding some curves. Usually place one here, Bring this down to get a little more of the black. And then get that red a little bit pop in there. So with that said, we're going to add our smoke. We're going to throw that on, and we're going to overlay it, and maybe put that down a little bit, and maybe this needs to be a bit bigger. Oh, perfect. Okay, and we'll keep that on top. We're going to add some blending options to our character. We'll go with a glow, kind of make that, and add the opacity a bit. Then we can zoom out. Then we're going to add a new layer. That's going to go right here. Select our brush. Grab a red. I like to go a little bit more of a solid color. We'll go a bit darker too. We'll zoom out. Extend our brush. And just make sure your hardness is on 0 and the size is decent. And you just kind of want to click the circle outside of the thumbnail so it's catching the corner. Click, click. Perfect. And then we throw that under the shadow to give like a shadowy red effect. So it's pretty red right now, but that is no problem. We'll be customizing that after. We're going to add our text, and we'll make this like 100. We'll change it after. What is going on here? Okay, we will fix that. Not sure what happened there. There we go. And for this thumbnail, let's say, oh, I gotta think of a song name. You know what, we'll just do tutorial. For the sake of this video, we'll do just tutorial. Go to gradient. We're gonna add a red one. Make sure that's 100%. Go to the reds. And there's really not many for Photoshop. So you know what, we'll maybe look at the oranges and then just tweak the colors. Maybe something like that. And then we'll just opt for red. And yeah, you can play around with the brightness here. You can go a little bit darker for the red, so maybe that looks a little bit better. And as you can see, it's a little bit hard to see the text right now. So we're gonna add a drop shadow. And just make that a bit bigger, shorten that, shorten the distance a bit, and perfect. Then we'll add an inner glow. And this we'll just add on the edges here. And then going to duplicate. We're going to lift up the text on this one a little bit, and then we'll warp the text. So for this one, maybe we'll look at bulge. Not sure if I'm liking that one. Maybe fisheye. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then they'll both update. I'm gonna make this a bit smaller. Then we're gonna put this under the text so then it kind of has like a red effect on it. And now that we've done that, I like to adjust the inner glow. And we'll go straight white. And let's see if we can make this pop a little bit more. Perfect. And then we'll copy that layer style here. We'll paste that. And there we go. There is our text. And it is looking a little bright in the background. I want to disconnect that a little bit from our main focus here. I kind of want to take the background a little bit more out of focus. So I will add a layer. I will select the rectangle tool. And then I will fill with a color. And we'll go back to that like dark blue gray. Perfect. And boom, our background is gone. Now, this does look pretty decent, and you could just keep it like that. I like to still keep some of the background. Maybe we'll do 68%. And as you can see, that looks pretty good. I want to add a little bit more to pop the character out. So we'll add drop shadow, and let's see what we can do to make this white pop a little more. There we go. And something you could always do, you could throw like a soft light on that. That kind of makes it a little more distinct. If we hide that, you can see how it kind of helps the colors, a little more contrast and brightness. Maybe I'll turn that down a little bit too. Okay, now that we're done this, we're gonna do some color correcting. Now, typically I use color correction packs. I have some in my graphics packs I can link in the description. But you don't really need them, especially when you get good with playing with the colors. Now, you could add some adjustments, or you can do what I typically do, and I select everything. I duplicate the layers, click OK, Control E, and that combines everything. And I just cut out everything extra by cutting that. Then we can go up to Filter, Camera Raw Filter, and this is where we can play around with all of our adjustments. So usually look at the exposure. Obviously that's a little too high. And just because of how the colors are right now, I'm probably gonna go just a little bit under. Contrast, I'll put up to 20. Yeah, I usually just move the slider around to see what I'm kind of liking. So whites, I don't really want to drown out that red too much, so I'm going to leave that, and then black, so I'll bring down. And then our color balance and our temperature and tint. So you could go a little blue, which looks pretty decent, kind of brings out the character a little more. So we'll go -14, and do kind of like the pink hue to that. Maybe we'll just go something light. I usually just crank the vibrance a little bit as well as the saturation. We'll zoom out. That already looks pretty decent. And then we can go down to texture. I like to add a little bit of texture. The clarity. Could go all the way with that, but we'll just go with +9. Dehaze. We'll add a little bit of that. And then the vignette, I like to go dark with that on the edges. And as you can see, that kind of brings out, kind of distinguishes the text a little bit as well. And then grain, this is optional. I think the grain kind of looks cool, kind of gives like more of a rugged look. So I'll do maybe 20 for that. Click OK. And that is really it. Very simple thumbnail. The text kind of pops out. You can make that bigger and maybe add a little bit more glow to distinguish it a bit. But as you can see, when you zoom out, you know, it looks pretty good and it's going to catch your eye. So that is the tutorial for Fortnite. We'll export that. We'll call that Fortnite Tut. And then we will move on to our next one. that looks pretty decent. We're going to quickly rasterize these because we're going to be working on the layer, and we'll add like a little shadow behind the text. So this one, we'll add a new layer. We'll select the pixels on the top one, and we will grab this color and make it darker. Grab our brush, and we'll just kind of we will go a bit darker. There we go. So a little shadow over the text. Make a stronger drop shadow for that. Okay. So there we go. Now we will select everything. Duplicate the layers, Control E. So now we're back here again. As you can see, the exposure really is drowning out a lot. I'm gonna go just a little bit. And we'll do a little bit of contrast. Add the highlights. The shadows will drop down. Blacks will drop. Then temperature. Yeah, the yellows aren't coming through that well. I do like the blues because the purple's starting to come out a little bit, and the agent is as well. And then just more of a pink hue to this. Vibrance up, saturation up, texture. Like that sharpness it's adding, but I kind of do like drowning out. Yeah, that sharpness does look pretty sharp. Maybe we'll go kind of like a bit of a foggy look with the dehaze. Get the vignette on. Go a little bit stronger with this one, and then we'll add some grain. Done deal. Another thumbnail done. Alright, moving on, we're going to do our last one, which is for the H1Z1 thumbnail. Set our parameters here, grab our background, throw that on, and we're going to center this guy up. Let's enlarge him a bit. Maybe put somewhere like that. Going to select our subject. And again, this doesn't have to be a perfect selection. That looks good. Maybe we'll get some of this out here. Okay. Deselect that. Alright, so that looks decent enough. Transform that. Get our background going. Okay, now we're gonna do a little bit of a different order here. We're actually gonna get our text out. Enlarge this a bit. Something like that. And then we're gonna get, now we're gonna get the gun to overlay on top of some of the text. Actually move this down a little bit just so we avoid happened last time. Okay. So typically I just take this out here, lower this. Okay. And then I select our character here, and I select everything that's going to overlay on top. So this, his hand, that's gonna go over, but not his chest. Let's see. So if we duplicate this, throw this on top of the text, and there we go. Now if we raise the opacity here, covering some of the text, looks kind of neat. We will get our blending style going here. Do our green gradients. These are all kind of funky, not really what we're looking for. Maybe we'll do this one and we'll just change everything. And our drop shadow. Add our inner glow. Increase the layer style, minimize that. Drop this down a touch. That's drop shadow is really coming through there. I'm gonna fix that. We'll do that, and we will raise our text back up. And then yeah, same thing we did before with the Valorant thumbnail. We're going to rasterize these. Make a new layer, select the pixels on this, and everything that's sort of covered, we will add a bit of a shadow onto. Actually, select the new layer. Might have to go a bit darker with this to really see it, but let's see how that looks. What if we just duplicate that? That should be okay. And the smoke is a little strong with the green, which is okay. We're just gonna drop this down a bit. Actually, does look pretty sharp on the text. And what we'll do the same thing we did with our lights there, and we'll actually just like erase the top a little bit so it looks like the smoke's kind of rising up. And with that said, we will grab everything, duplicate, Control E, into our camera raw filter. And there we go. We have another popping thumbnail. You can see that's H1Z1. You can see the text, the background, and I think that looks quite good. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. If there's any other tutorials you would like to see in the future, just leave those down in the comments down below. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Peace.